Christmas time is right around the corner, which means to save my own sanity, I need to start planning now. I thought you guys might want to see what I have planned for the week before Christmas break. So today we're doing a plan with me. Grab your planner, your favorite pens, and my favorite resource, our Christmas Tree Farm project-based learning activity. And let's look at what my week before Christmas break is gonna look like this year. I'm all ready to plan today, and I hope you are too. I have all my supplies ready to go. These are the things I plan with every single week when I'm sitting down to plan. First and foremost, a beverage. Gotta stay hydrated. I have all my favorite pens and pencils in my pencil pouch ready to go. Right now I am loving erasable pens, game changer. I have my personal planner so I can make sure all of my life events that need to go in my school planner get in there as well. And I have my school planner. I plan with the Happy Planner and I love it. Hope you have your supplies ready because we're about to dive into my week before Christmas break. All right, within my planner, I have already set up my week. I have my dates on the side, and the first thing I need to make sure I do is go and add all of the things that I know are happening within this week before Christmas break. So let's speed it up and fill in the have-tos. Now that I've filled in all the things that I know are the same in my schedule this week, it's time to start thinking about where I'm gonna put things for this crazy week. Now, typically at the top of my planner, I'm gonna have things segmented out by subject area. So typically this whole column is where I put my reading plans for the week. This whole column is where I put science or social studies, math will go here, grammar will go here, and writing will go here. But since we know this week is already crazy, we're throwing the schedule to the wind. Now I'm gonna try and do reading activities in the morning, math activities in the afternoon after our lunchtime, but I'm really not gonna hold myself to that schedule. This week is already crazy. Kids are already so excited. So it's gonna be okay if I break this schedule up just a little bit. Now, this week I'm planning on using this resource, the Christmas Tree project-based learning activity. I'm gonna be using resources from this every single day this week, and we're even gonna bring the fun into our holiday party. We're gonna make it a Christmas tree party, which is gonna be really, really fun. Now, a little bit about this resource. This resource is designed to be used over multiple days, so it's so great when you can run it over a full week. And I'm here to show you how I'm gonna use it in my classroom over this. All right, first let's think about Monday, day one of this activity, day one of the fun. Now, I've gone through and printed resources from the bundle that I want to be using, and I'm gonna talk a little bit about how I'm gonna use them in my classroom. So one of my favorite things that comes on day one is the focus on a Christmas tree life cycle. This is great because we're about to start life cycles in science as well. So this would be a really cool kind of prelude to that for when we come back from our holiday break. Something to know is that on the resources, they're going to denote it with either a present or a holly leaf if it is a leveled resource. The present resources are slightly less challenging than the holly leaf resources, which I love. To make sure this is accessible for all of my students, I'm going to be using majority of the present resources. So I think the first activity we're going to focus on Monday is this Christmas tree life cycle reading passage. We're going to read the passage, we're going to discuss, we're going to annotate. We're going to use kind of our close reading model that we've already practiced and mastered this year with this article. From there, it comes with an activity, almost like a craft, which I love, but this one's super intentional. So students are going to be making a pinwheel that shows the Christmas tree life cycle, which I love. So I think this is going to take a large chunk of time. Anytime they are cutting anything, we know that's going to take forever. So I want to make sure that I have enough time in our day set aside for this. I also am going to put a note on here that I need to make a teacher copy so they can see. So I know ahead of time, I'm going to prep a teacher model of this so they know what I'm looking for in their final resource. So I'm going to put my reading passage and my Christmas tree life cycle pinwheel in my first chunk of my day. I think this is going to go perfectly in our morning where I typically do reading. So I'm going to write in life cycle activity. I think that's going to be perfect in the morning. From there, I know I still have this nice chunk of time before we go to lunch. This is about 45 minutes for me. So I think this will be another great activity. So they are reading about the types of Christmas trees And then they're going to do a little riding. If you could buy a tree from Frost Christmas Tree Farm, which type of Christmas tree would you choose and why? I think these go perfectly together. Again, we're going to get to practice that close read model, and then they're going to get to do a little riding. I think that's going to fit perfectly right here. Types of trees. Now, I love this resource because I'm going to be learning a lot about Christmas trees along with my students, which is so much fun. It means I'm the perfect partner for trivia. So in my day, we then go to lunch, and then we have a nice over an hour chunk of time before we go to language arts. This is when I typically do math. It's about an hour and a half. So I'm going to choose these next activities because they feel very math leaning, which I love. So it's really cool. It is mapping the tree farm. Now, I know mapping feels a little bit like geography, which we're in right now in science and social studies, which is perfect. But I love this because it really focuses on area, which is a huge standard for us in 3rd grade. So by focusing on these resources, students are going to get to practice those area skills. So I'm going to have this prepped ahead of time for my student, and I'm considering even printing the sky on even bigger paper so they can make their maps even larger, which is fun. It comes with this teacher example, which is perfect, meaning I can use this to model within my instructions. So love that. Thank you. It has information about the sizes of things, and then it tells them what they need to include on their map as well, which is perfect. I think this is going to take a lot of time. They're going to be able to decorate it and add their own touch. So I think the mapping task is going to take us all the way through to activity. So it's going to cover both those pieces. And then that afternoon we have musical practice. So I think that's going to be the perfect way to start our month. What about Tuesday next? Now, Tuesday's collection of activities is one of my favorites because it has a STEM challenge, which is so much fun. So I'm actually going to start my day with the STEM challenge where students are building a reindeer barn. Now, this is 2 separate pages. I went ahead and printed it on one just so I could have both on one page. But if you want to do 2 separate pages, you totally can. So what students are going to have to do, they're going to have to build a reindeer barn with a challenge, and then it has a collection of materials. Now, I love the suggested materials for this because all of these things are resources I already have in craft bins in my classroom. So I love this piece. They're going to make a list about things they already know about barns, so activating that prior knowledge. They're going to design their barn. There's also a page that comes in the resource where they have to make a request list of what resources they want. I'm not using that one, but it is there if you want it. This is going to take a huge chunk of time, and I'm so excited about that. So I'm going to put this in my whole morning window. STEM challenge, because I love activities like this. They can be so creative for students. They love really digging into things, and they're not going to realize that they are using those engineering design processes. They are using those steps that we've learned about this year. So I think that's going to be great. Now, the next set of resources I'm going to have ready to go as kind of an early finisher task because some students will fly through the reindeer challenge. This is what I'm going to have set up. I'm going to have it stapled in packets for them so they can just grab it and go when they're done with their reindeer work. So it's really cool. Day 2's focus is planning on your activities for your Christmas tree farm. So you're doing ice skating rink rules. You're designing some ugly Christmas sweaters, and it's fun. It talks about how there is an ugly Christmas sweater day in the month of December. They're going to decorate a wreath, and this is fun because they have to use geometric shapes. I'm going to put a note on here that I need to pull out my shapes. Oh, my stickies are stuck. Imagine that. I need to pull out my shapes anchor chart. Since we haven't hit geometry yet this year, I need to have my anchor chart available so they can say, oh, this is what a trapezoid is. I'm going to have that available to them. This will be part of that early finisher packet. And then the photo booth backdrop. So all of those resources are going to go in my early finisher packet. So when they're done with their reindeer barn, that's the activity they're going to roll to. And I'm going to put that note here. Early finish. That's going to be perfect. All right, next for my afternoon block of time, this is going to be fun because I'm going to bring in a little Christmas magic as well. They are going to be sequencing how to make hot cocoa, and then they're going to do a little work with some math riddles, which are so much fun. Now, for the hot cocoa sequencing, of course, I'm going to have to do a little hot cocoa. I have all the supplies for it in my classroom. I have an electric kettle that just stays there year round. So I'm going to make them hot cocoa to enjoy while they're sequencing. And then I think for this one, I did choose the lower level task. I still think this could be a great partner activity just because it's really challenging. So I'm going to put tree farm riddles. And if they didn't finish, if they finish either of these, they then can go back to my early finisher packet, which I think is going to be a great way to have that activity ready to go for them. All right, love how Tuesday's looking. Time to take a look at Wednesday, and Wednesday's focus is going to be all about social media and advertising for the tree farm. They're going to start off their morning by designing a social media post, which I think is so much fun because kids these days, they're all about that. It's amazing how many students are like, oh, I'm on TikTok, I'm on Instagram. They're going to love this activity. So in the morning, they're going to design a social media post, and then I'm going to have them work in groups to film a commercial for the tree farm, which I think is going to be so much fun. So within the filming a commercial section, there's a few different things that you get, which I love. So planning page, a script page where they're gonna have to write it all out, and then a really great math activity where they are applying what they did in the planning section. So I think I'm gonna use these two resources first. We're gonna focus on that social media in the morning. So we're gonna do our social media post, and then they're gonna get to plan their commercial. They are going to love that. And then I think in this block of time before we go to lunch, we're gonna film them. If we're doing a Christmas tree farm, y'all, we're gonna go all in. We're gonna film our commercial. Then in the afternoon, that's where we're going to do these two activities. Now, I don't think these are gonna take a huge chunk of time. So I do have a third activity that comes from our resource that I'm gonna fit in here as well. I love the tree farm hours because we have just finished elapsed time. So let's set that up here, tree farm hours. And then advertising budget. Again, building on that idea that today's resources are all about advertising and planning for the tree farm budgeting page. Now, as a final task for this day, I love this brochure that comes with your resource. Within the brochure, students are going to be sharing all the information they've decided upon thus far for Frost Christmas Tree Farm. Now, there's two versions of the brochure, which I think is awesome. The present version is going to have these labels to kind of guide students for where to put their information, whereas the Holly Tree version is going to be almost completely blank, letting students get really creative with where they're putting their info. This is going to take us all the way through our afternoon as we're planning for our Christmas tree farm. Look at Thursday, and we're starting Thursday with a sweet treat. This brownie recipe section of the resource is so much fun. And you know, of course, I have to bring in brownies. That would almost be mean to talk about brownies and not give them a sweet treat for our morning. So in the morning, we're gonna focus on the brownie recipe section of the resource. And I love it because it then comes with comprehension questions. So I think it's so cool that they're having to apply these nonfiction reading skills to a recipe. That's not typically a text that we see students working with, but it's so important. And then you can go back to that author's purpose of explaining things to us, talking through steps, how to read ingredients. I think this is gonna lead to an awesome conversation in my morning on Thursday. So let's get that written in. Up next on Thursday are going to be very math-leaning activities, which is going to be perfect for our time both before and after lunch. Now, this is where they're going to be planning ticket prices. They're also going to be making a schedule for the Christmas tree farm. I love this because it says a list of things that you have to do. And then this is where their schedule is going to be made. Again, this is awesome because my students have been focusing a lot on elapsed time in class. So I'm going to go ahead and fill those in here. Scheduling and ticket costs. Other resources in here as well, and I think this one is going to be so cool. It's a tree delivery route. So they're getting a map, and then they're getting all these clues that they're going to have to use to find where Christmas trees are being delivered. This is going to be a great partner activity so they can support each other as they're working through this resource. I'm going to fit this in as my next chunk of time. Tree delivery. All right, time to look at my last day of my week, Friday. Now, Friday is a full day for us, but we do have our holiday party in the afternoon, which is going to be so fun. So I have just a few activities picked from the day 5 section of the resource, and I love them because they're all going to be graphing skills, which is all the content that we're doing in the week prior to this week in December. We're starting our graphing and data unit, so this is going to be a perfect tie-in. We have the tree sales graph, where students are going to have to be analyzing the pictograph, and then students are going to be making a graph. They're going to make our gift shop graph to show how many things were purchased in the gift shop. I think this is a fantastic last day before Christmas break activity. So I'm going to write in graphing. Now, this is also a great thing to remember. If students have other things from the week, this is a lot of things. If there's other things that they haven't finished, I'm going to chunk out and block of time in our day before our party when we wanted to stay nice and calm and collected, where they can hit any of that unfinished work from the week. I think I'm going to have my students keep all of these things in their unfinished work folders. So as we go through a day, anything that's not done, they're just going to add it to that folder, so then they can pull it all out and get it ready to go for Friday's block of unfinished work time. Now, if you're looking for other resources, there is more within this bundle. These are just the activities I'm choosing to do with my students as we plan our Christmas tree farm. I don't know about you, but my planning space looks like absolute carnage by the time I'm finished, but I'm really excited for this week with my students. I think it's going to be fun, engaging, structured, and it's going to help us get through all of the insanity before our holiday break starts. Now remember, if you're looking for this resource, everything I shared today is from our Christmas Tree Farm project-based learning activity. It's going to be linked up in the cards and down in the description box. Now, I said I am bringing some of these activities into our holiday party. It's going to be so much fun. Students are going to be eating Christmas tree-shaped treats. We're going to have a hot cocoa bar again at the holiday party, and they're going to get to reflect on all of their planning they did all week long across Christmas Tree Farm. Thanks so much for watching today, and make sure you click subscribe to see all of our content moving forward. We have a great holiday playlist, and let me know in the comments if you want to see more Plan With Me content. It's easy to do because I'm lesson planning every single week. We hope you guys are feeling ready for a holly jolly holiday season, and as always, we hope you have a